Hey everyone, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2024 Kia Sportage, we're going to be showing you how to install the etrailer.com trailer hitch receiver. Before we do that though, let's take a minute, we'll check this out and make sure it's going to work for you. When it comes to the Sportage, I personally see people using these to do a lot of different things. You know, you see a lot of bike racks and cargo carriers, but also people pulling trailers around. So if that's the type of things you're looking to do, that's where a trailer hitch is going to come into play. One of the things I like about this hitch is the appearance, or how it's going to look. For the most part, it's going to be completely hidden. You're really just going to be able to see the receiver tube opening, and even then it sits up nice and tight against the bottom of our vehicle. Almost looks like a factory option if you were to ask me. And the appearance is going to be probably the biggest difference between the hitches available, and even then it's really minor. The other ones are going to sit in the same position for the most part, but really the finish is going to be the major difference. So the eTrailer one has a matte black finish, which I'm a fan of. The Curt one has more of a gloss black finish, and then the Draw Tight somewhere in the middle, almost a semi-gloss, and I feel like it depends on your particular vehicle. On this one, we have gloss black paint on the bottom, so the Curt or Draw Tight might match a little bit better, but that's going to be entirely up to you. The hitch is going to have a 2-inch by 2-inch receiver tube opening, which is good because that is a really common size, so a lot of stuff will work with it. It is going to use the standard 5/8 pin and clip. One doesn't come with the hitch. If you need one, you can always get it here at eTrailer. A lot of times if you end up buying a new accessory, it'll come with one, so something to look out for there. And the safety chain openings are a loop style, relatively large and easy to get to, and it should allow you to use just about any size hook that your trailer might have on it. A lot of people do ask about fitment and the different types of submodels, and with this hitch it's going to work from your base model up until your fully loaded one and everything in between. Even the hybrid versions of these, the hitch will bolt up and work just fine. Now, as far as the hitch's weight capacities go, it's going to have some pretty good numbers. Maximum gross tongue weight rating is going to be 525 pounds, and that's going to be the amount of weight pushing down on the hitch. So that's sufficient for just about any size bike rack or cargo carrier, to give you an example there. And when it comes to the maximum gross trailer weight rating, that's going to be 3,500 pounds, or the amount of weight pulling on the hitch. That is the weight of your trailer plus anything that you might have in or on it. Now, with all that in mind, I do always like to recommend, always a good idea to grab your Kia's owner's manual. That way you can check in there and make sure that your Sportage can handle that amount of weight safely. We'll grab a couple measurements now, and these will help us figure out what type of accessories are going to work best. Go from the ground to the top inside edge of the receiver tube opening. That's going to be 15 inches. So if you're pulling a trailer, you can probably use a ball mount that has a straight shank, maybe even one with a slight rise in it, inch or two, probably work in most scenarios. And for those of you using accessories, one with a straight shank will work fine. If it has a rise, even better. Buy you a little more ground clearance back here. If you go from the center of the hitch pin hole to the edge of our rear bumper, that's going to be about 6 inches, and you can use that to help figure out exactly if any of those folding type accessories that you might have can be stored in that upright position without hitting the back of your Sportage. Other than that, when it comes down to it, a great all-around hitch. You know, it looks good on the Sportage, and it's going to be able to handle pretty much whatever you want to throw at it, whether you're pulling your trailer or using that bike rack. When it comes to the installation, really not bad at all. There's a couple of panels that are easy to get to that you drop down to give you some room, and then the hitch more or less just bolts right up to the frame. So shouldn't run into too many issues or take up a bunch of your time, but if you're going to install this yourself, feel free to stick around. We'll go ahead and get started on it now. To begin our installation, we're going to be underneath the back of our Kia, and the very first thing that we're going to need to do is remove this plastic underbody panel here in the middle. Along this edge of the panel, we're going to have a total of 4 pushpin style fasteners. To get these out, you can just take a flathead screwdriver, pry down on the head of it, pull the whole thing out. We'll just work our way down here. And then along the front side, there's going to be some different types of fasteners. A total of 3 of them, and these are just plastic nuts. You can take a 14mm socket, and I just put an extension on it and just do these by hand. And these are going to stay connected to the panel. We're just releasing them from the little metal studs that are coming down. And sometimes too, you might have to apply a little bit of downward pressure there to get them to release. Once we drop this down, we can set it to the side as we will not be reinstalling it. Moving over here to the passenger side, we're going to have another small underbody panel, and we'll get that out of our way. Just 2 push pins. They're along the edge. And then 2 more of the plastic nuts, just like in the center there. Get them loosened up. And we'll get this one dropped down. Once the hitch is up though, this one will be getting reinstalled. Moving to our frame rails, we can go over our attachment points and things like that. And from this point on, whatever we do to one side of the vehicle, we're also going to do to the other side. So it'll be set up the exact same way. We have a rubber plug in the bottom of our frame rail, so we're going to pop that out and get it removed. And then if you happen to have any, sealer that dropped off or anything on the bottom, just scrape that off, get the frame rail cleaned up so it don't interfere with our trailer hitch. This one is pretty good shape, but we're gonna have 3 attachment points, and they're just factory weld nuts. So you have this one here, and these 2 on the side. And not a bad idea to clean them out. If you can spray some penetrating oil in there or something. Use a brush, just in case if there's any grime or debris or a little bit of surface rust. They'll be clean and our hardware will go in more easily. As far as the hardware combination goes, it's going to be the same for all of our attachment points. You're going to have a bolt and a conical tooth washer. When you put the washer on, make sure that the teeth are facing this way. So when you actually thread this in, the teeth will be facing up towards the hitch. And the way everything will work, we'll hold the hitch up, line up the holes in it with our attachment points, and then these are just going to thread right into the frame. If you have someone that can help you out with this part, it makes it much more manageable, but we'll take our hitch and raise it into position. And get everything lined up here. We'll get the hardware started hand tight. A quick pointer that I've ran into in the past, sometimes these hitches fit really tight and they're difficult to get the side bolts lined up because the hitch isn't up high enough. If that happens to you, you can always get the bottom one started and tighten it down, and that'll kind of draw the hitch up higher into position and making it easier to get these going. So that's something you run into. That's something you could try out. But once you have everything in place and hand tight, we'll come back with a 17mm and snug everything down. Now you want to make sure and come back with a torque wrench and tighten down all of the hardware to the amount specified in the instructions. We can go ahead and take this underbody panel over here on the passenger side, reinstall that the opposite way that we removed it, and And with that complete, that will finish up our look at and our installation of the etrailer.com trailer hitch receiver on our 2024 Kia Sportage.